Two guys in a crown. No crown this time around. Brad Whiteside, Joe Christofek. Exaggerator comes to the Belmont looking every bit the favorite here, but this don't win the Derby, but win the Preakness at Belmont combo is a very rare feat. What do you think of him this weekend?
Yeah, I think, Bram, and I'll probably take some flack for this, that there's a better chance that Exaggerator misses the board than actually wins the Belmont Stakes. It's a mile and a half. It's a sandy track. If it's dry, it's something he's not used to. There was moisture in the track in the Santa Anita Derby. There was moisture in the track, although it was fast in the Kentucky Derby. And the Preakness was a sea of slop. This is his third race in 5 weeks as the defining favorite in the Belmont Stakes. I'm definitely willing to play against Exaggerator.
I think this is a weird race. None of the contenders look like they want to be a front runner, so I don't know what the pace is going to be by the time they get to the stretch, and then I think everyone's going to floor it. And there's a lot of horses here that have an opportunity to close really well. Sudden Breaking News can do it, and my pick, Cherry Wine. I like him. I like how he responded in the Preakness and the slot, but I think he's got a shot here to pull this off if Exaggerator's not on his game. But I'm kind of like you here. I feel like he's the prohibitive favorite, and if it's not going to happen, it's really not going to happen. There are some good numbers out there. Is there a long shot you're looking at that you think has a shot at this?
Well, I mean, with Exaggerator, probably going to be less than 2 to 1. Everybody else is probably going to be, right in the 5, 8, 10, 12 to 1 range. And the horse I like to win is Stradivari. I think he's going to get a great trip. I know I picked him in the Preakness. He ran a deceivingly good race. I think by the end of the year, he's going to be one of, if not the top 3-year-old around. I also like Pletcher's other horse, Destin. I picked him in the Derby. He gets 5 weeks off. I think he's going to get a great trip in this race. And I think, he spun his wheels in the Kentucky Derby and we didn't see his best. You mentioned Creator, Sudden Breaking News, the deep off the pace closers. I think both of those horses will handle a mile and a half. It just depends on if there's going to be enough pace for them to chase. Bram, there's been some bad horses that have won the Belmont over the years. Most of the time, it's not the favorite. A lot of the time, it's 10 to 1 or higher. So, come up with the best price shot that you like and take a swing for the fences.
I got one of those really bad horses that I kind of like here, and it's Lonnie. Okay? Now, Lonnie, for some reason, when the gate opens, decides to stand there and watch everyone else run and then start running 2 seconds later, which is a problem for me. However, look how he closed in the Preakness. At one point, he was 27 lengths back, and he finished 5. So if he could just start like a normal racehorse, I actually think he's got a shot to hit the board. And maybe if Exaggerator is off, there's a possibility that he just runs for miles. So I think there's a possibility here. If you're going to take a deep long shot, that Lonnie would be that one. All right, no Triple Crown this year, which I think was predictable. How deep the field was, and then the conditions of the Preakness really ruined any chance for Nyquist to get it done. What are your thoughts here on 2016 as we come to the end of the Triple Crown season?
I think it's kind of a mystery at this point, and I think the 3-year-old championship is still completely up for grabs. You still have the Haskell, you still have the Travers, you still have the handicap races against older later on in the year, including the Breeders' Cup Classic. Nyquist is the favorite to win the 3-year-old championship. Exaggerator's right behind him, but I think we still might see a wild card by the time the year is over.
I get to say I told you so a little bit. I said there was no way there was going to be a Triple Crown this year. Granted, that's an easy thing to say since it's happened once in like 40 years. Coverage of the Belmont Stakes, of course, can be seen on the NBC family of networks, NBC-SN, NBC, and then back to NBC-SN for post-race coverage as well. And post-Belmont, Joe and I will be back as we chase down a classic for Two Guys in a Classic this summer into the fall. For Joe, I'm Bram for Two Guys in a Crown.